What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So here we are again. So yeah, obviously I've not done any Monday Night reviews since Nashville on 5/29. That was 2 months ago, nearly. Actually, just a little over a month ago. And since then, let's just go ahead and pull up the calendar here so I can talk about this a little bit more expertly. Yeah, so after that draw against Nashville, at home by the way, we then went and drew Philadelphia at home, which actually was not too bad because, it's Philadelphia, so. But then we lost to NYCFC, then we drew Red Bulls, and then we lost to Chicago. Chicago, the team we embarrassed earlier this season, and then we go and draw at Nashville. And let's just say the lineup that we had out, lucky to have come away with the draw. In fact, a lot of people were praising them for the draw. The freaking Twitter page was just full of praise for the draw, for dropping 2 more points. We're what are we, 2, 3, and 7 now? 10th place? This is great. So here we are again. I don't feel like I can do reviews because I'm just not interested right now. And it comes down to, I am not just your average fan who's just like, I'm just here to watch them and support them no matter what. I'm not a fan of the MLS. I'm not a fan of the structure. I'm not a fan of the fact that we have to basically, what's the word I'm looking for? We have to give a helping hand to teams. Like the bottom place team, you get the next top draft pick because we want to make sure everybody stays in it. We want to make sure everybody has a fighting chance. Let's create parity, guys, so that way no team can be fantastic. We can all just be mediocre. Because that's fun to watch, right? That's fun to watch. That's why we're never going to be seen as a legitimate league, because anybody can win. And it's not because everybody's so good. It's not like the Premier League where the bottom teams are still talented and have a chance to beat you on any given day. No, it's just all the teams are just average. And it's not really good soccer. It's just average soccer. It's not fun. It's boring. It's slow paced. The teams are scoring goals because the defenders or the goalkeepers making mistakes. It's not because teams are so good that there's, oh, that was a brilliant move. Oh, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant play. No, none of that. No. Everybody's got to be on equal playing ground because we got to level it out. It's just, I'm not a fan of that. And what it's done is it's set us up to be a mediocre team again this year. Because we don't have the backup off the first team. We don't even have, in my opinion, a solid first team to begin with. I mean, when you have to play Brooks Lennon every game, he's just your average MLS player. He's not a true soccer player. He has one thing that he does well. Anton Walks, same thing. George Bellows, same thing. Honestly, Ibarra, same thing. Mulroney, same thing. Dom, same thing. Torres, same thing. Although, for him, you would think, since he's a striker, hopefully his one thing is finishing, but that's actually not the one thing he's good at. The one thing he's good at is putting pressure. But we don't necessarily need that from a striker. So all of these players in our first team just have the one thing that they're good at. Because that's what most MLS players are. Most MLS players are good at the one thing. Gressel was a fantastic crosser of the ball. You put him anywhere else on the field, he's not good. But the thing is, in that team, Gressel was our one weak link. You couldn't put him anywhere else on the field, or else he wasn't going to be as effective. But the thing is, you didn't need to put him anywhere else in the field because you had so many other solid players. You had Parkhurst running the defense, and he calmed down Perez, who was a bit crazy. He calmed down Escobar, who could be a bit crazy. You had your left wing back position was always a little up in the air because you weren't really sure what you were going to get out of Garza, but you know what? He was going to at least put in a decent performance. In the midfield, you had Nagby, who was solid. We had Remedi even after that. We had all of these players that I'm just looking at and I'm thinking I'm going to get a solid performance from them every single game. A lot of these players now, I don't know if I'm going to get a solid performance. Some games, they'll turn up and they'll play great. I'll admit, Lennon had a fantastic game, I think, against Philadelphia. I thought he played really well, but he doesn't do that every game. Most of the time, he's out of position or he's putting in crosses to nobody. So, I know I'm picking on Lennon a lot. It's just because he's the easiest one to pinpoint out of all the other players that are similar to him, because his problems are obvious to, I think, everybody. Whereas some of the other players, it's a bit more technical. It's a bit more about their style of play compared to the style of the players around them. So it's just, we're not set up to do well. We're not set up to really challenge and try to be the top team. We're not set up to be the best, even with Martinez up front, which we've not had him for most of the season anyway. But even with him up front, even if he was fully fit and he was at the top of his game right now, I don't even know if we'd be doing well with him up there. Because there's not enough behind him, and defensively we're slacking a lot of the time. So it's not fun to watch at the moment, and it's not fun for me to try to do a review of it either, because most of the time I just find myself complaining and I find myself just repeating myself, like, oh, well, here's the issue that I saw last game, it's still not fixed. Here's the issue I saw 2 games ago, that popped up again, but we didn't have it last game. So it's just kind of like all over the place. It's not enjoyable, it's not good soccer, it's just not what I want to see in a team. You know, I still hope they do well. But they're basically like any other Atlanta team for me right now. I don't really watch the Falcons. I don't really watch the Hawks. I don't really watch the Braves. But if they're doing well, hey, good job. I'll be happy for them, because it's my home state. I live in Georgia, so I want the Atlanta teams to do well. But that doesn't mean I'm going to watch every single game and I'm going to be there every single time. And the other thing, I guess, kind of going off on a random topic, but the other thing that's also frustrating about this year is that Fox Sports Southeast has changed now to Bally Sports Southeast. And that's where pretty much every Atlanta United game that's not at home is being shown. The problem with Bally Sports Southeast is that if you don't watch it through Bally Sports Southeast, you cannot watch it anywhere else. And if you don't have DirecTV or Apple TV, I think those are the only two that you can watch Bally Sports Southeast on. So if you don't have those two, unlucky. You may live in the state, but guess what? You can't watch it because you're not subscribed to this provider. That's unfortunate. Doesn't matter if you have Dish. Doesn't matter if you have Hulu. Unlucky. And those happen to be the 2 I have. Unlucky. Oh, and even if you have ESPN Plus, it's showing on ESPN Plus, unless you're using your provider that doesn't have Bally Sports Southeast. You can watch every other MLS game, but you can't watch Atlanta United on ESPN Plus because Bally Sports Southeast says, no. You can't watch it anywhere else. You have to watch it with us. So that's also been very frustrating. It's greedy, it's selfish, and kind of stupid, in my opinion. But, hey, that's unfortunately what this whole streaming service debacle has kind of become. It's just sort of been a mad grab to be like, I want this, and I want this, and you can't have this is mine. Just like, yeah, cool. It's not about competing prices anymore. It's just about what's mine, what's not mine. How can I make an extra buck? Great. Cool. You guys are really winning hearts. So that's been the other thing, is that because I can't watch every game, it also makes it hard to do reviews of away games because I'm not able to see them. So it's just all of these factors, and I think this is even kind of the reason why I stopped doing reviews under DeBoer as well, because I think even back then I was having issues watching every game. So it's just all of these little issues, though, that just have compiled, and I'm just not wanting to do reviews of Atlanta United right now. Honestly, I'm debating if I want to go to the game against New England this Saturday, because do I want to spend 2-3 hours of my life there when I could be doing other things? Because, yeah, they may play well, but also they may not. They could have a fantastic game. I don't know if Martinez and Barker are going to be back. I think they should be, but also they're coming back from being on international break, so are they going to be 100%? Are they going to be fit to play? Who knows? We're still without Robinson in the back, so we're going to have to deal with that as well. But, I don't know, they've really lost my interest, and I hate to say that because I want to be supportive, I want to be a fan, but really what it is I'm a fan of good soccer. And right now, that's not what we're showing. So I'm a fan of good soccer before I'm a fan of Atlanta United. Because even before Atlanta United turned out to be good in the first season, I wasn't happy. I wasn't excited. I wasn't sitting there going, yes, we're getting an MLS team. My thought process was, great. Am I going to have to try to be supportive of this MLS team since it's in my home state? And then when it turned out that they were actually doing stuff that made us a good team and made us enjoyable to watch and actually sparked some interest in the MLS, which is unheard of, I mean, that got me excited. But then it's like we peaked and then it just kind of went downhill from there. And now the MLS is just essentially back to the same old standard boring league. Like, we're just constantly expanding, bringing in these new teams while not doing anything to actually make the league better, you know? And that's, I don't know. I just don't know if I can get behind a league that's not looking to actually improve. It's just looking for more ways to make money, you know? Because if they can bring in more teams, that means more money for them. That means more games to show. Yeah, more money. It's not about the quality of the league. You know, we could easily be on the same timeline as every other league in the world, which would also make it more interesting because then we wouldn't have this issue where most of the MLS teams are without their top players because they're playing internationally right now because the MLS goes on during the summer because we're idiots. But the Canadian teams, okay, first of all, there's a problem. The Canadian teams, it's a different country. They can create their own league that goes from March or April or whenever we start to August, September, October. Like, they can create their own league up there while we do our thing. Because if we're really changing the league based on Canadian teams, that's already an issue. But then also, your complaint is that you don't want to play during the winter because in Canada, it gets too cold, there's snow. Oftentimes that means you can't play on the field. Okay, but you're playing in the summer down in Orlando. How is that any less dangerous than playing in the cold in Canada? Because actually, if you're playing in the cold in Canada, you can bundle up more. You can wear Under Armour that keeps you warm. You can, wear gloves with hand warmers. You can put foot warmers in your cleats. I've done that before. I've had to play in freezing cold weather, and I've managed to bundle myself up. You know what sucks is when you have to play in 102-degree heat in the middle of summer in July of all times, and you have to stop for water breaks because it's too hot to play the full 90 without taking a break. Because we're playing in the middle of summer when most international teams are playing. Which also means that now some of our teams are missing out on their best players because they have to go play internationally. So it's like all of these decisions that the MLS makes hinders the teams. It makes us a worse league overall. Which is why I don't really want to support the MLS. And that's what I was hoping Atlanta coming in, being a really driving force, driving to make the league better. The other teams were playing catch up with us. When Martino first came in and he brought in some of these players and the front room brought in some of these players and we're bringing in all this good talent and it looked like we were driving the league forward. Other teams trying to catch up with us, trying to keep up with us. And now it's like, now we're one of the worst teams in the league. Now we're lucky to get a point at home most of the time. We've not won in 7 matches. Like, it's just, nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to care that we've dropped off this much to where now we're just another MLS team. And I didn't want us to be another MLS team. So, anyways, I know I went off on a really long ranting tangent, but this is where I am right now. This is my feelings toward the team, toward the club, toward, the TV providers that show the games. This is where my head's at, and this is why I've not done any Atlanta United reviews. I tried to do one, but then I looked at it and I'm just like, you know what? I'm basically complaining this whole video. Like, that's all it was. It was not actually me analyzing the game at all. It was not actually me talking about the players and, who played well, who didn't. It was just basically me complaining about the team the whole game because I was pissed. So that's where I'm at. And I don't want to be in that headspace when I do reviews. I don't want to just bitch and complain throughout the entire video, even though that's what I just did here. But that's, again, this is why. If you're watching this video and you're like, God, he's just complaining too much. imagine if I were doing this in a review instead. That's kind of the problem. So yeah, that's where I am, and if you're upset about that, I'm sorry. I know I can't please everyone, so some people are going to be upset, like, oh, just be a fan, just stop complaining so much, stop expecting so much. I do. I expect more. My standards have been raised since season 1, honestly, and we've not met it since season 2, and we're now in season 5. So it's a problem, and it doesn't look like it's being fixed anytime soon. Even with the new coach coming in, I mean, Heinze, he made some changes that made us exciting for a couple games, and then things just sort of dropped off. And I know part of that is, missing a couple players because of international break, and that's on the league and also on the front room staff for not bringing in good backup. But it's still frustrating that you lose one player, you lose 2 players, and suddenly now you can't get a win. And not even just you can't score. No, we're scoring. Now we can't defend all of a sudden. So it's not even just Martinez being gone. There's other issues that need fixing. And Heinze just hasn't done anything to fix it. So yeah, it's just been a lot of frustration, a lot of issues, and I'm already dealing with enough in my life to where I don't want to have to deal with these frustrations every week. So I'm kind of becoming just a casual. I'll watch if it happens to be on, maybe, and I'll try to keep up with the results, but I don't know. It's feeling a lot like last season where I'm not sure if I want to keep up with the results anymore. Because, God, seeing that we tied Nashville twice, home and away, I mean, this is Nashville we're talking about. It's not like Nashville are doing anything special. And also, Chicago, who we embarrassed earlier this season, I'm pretty sure Chicago's, like, awful this season, right? Like, I'm not imagining that, am I? I'm going to go ahead and look up the standings real quick to see where they are. Yeah, no. They're awful. They are. How many points behind us? Okay, they're 2 points behind us now, but I mean that's the thing. They're below us and they beat us 3-0. They held us to a shutout when we crushed them 4-1 or 3-1 earlier this season. That was the game that got me really excited. It was a false flag apparently, but anyways, I'm done. I'm sorry that I completed this whole video. I'm sorry I'm not going to be doing any later United reviews. If things change, obviously I will post a review and I'll post, my opinions and all that. But for right now, it's just know that if we win, I'm happy. I'm glad we're winning. But I'm not going to be all too happy about the style of play right now because it's just not enjoyable. So that's all for me. So if you have your opinions, let me know in the comments. I love to discuss stuff. Don't just yell at me because then it's easy for me to just sort of mute you and block you. But yeah, if you actually want to talk and discuss Atlanta United stuff, please talk to me because I do enjoy having intelligent soccer discussions with people. But yeah, just leave your comments, leave a like and subscribe. I'm still gonna do Chelsea reviews, so if you're a Chelsea fan, stay tuned. But yeah, that's about it. So I'll see you guys when I see you. Peace out.